Oh, you're going to see some action now. Got some stuff here. Let me get this all adjusted right. Working on the Holmgaard replica, the replica of the bow that was found in Holmgaard, Denmark, dated at 9,000 years old, and it was intact enough so it actually cannot be disputed that this was a real live bow and not just like something else. It's almost like instrument building. Put a few scrapes on here so you can see me hard at work. And what I'm doing is necessary. That I have been following my way along the length of this bow, and I'm almost done with this form that represents a tree of a little less than 3 inches in diameter. And it is necessary that I find the correct diameter for the back in order to have a working bow. Let me show you what I mean. I have, using the measurements in the traditional bowyer's Bible, describing this bow, I have started out with, and this is beautiful, this is actually a piece of red oak from Home Depot that follows one growth ring more or less. This is a growth ring bow, which is nice. Anyway, I very precisely did the thickness according to the measurements in the bowyer's Bible. This profile, very precise also. And when I went to just, floor tiller to see where I was at, what I had was a very heavy bow, first of all, but one that didn't have the right bending, the tillering profile. A lot of the bend was out here and none of it was in here. And that is exactly because the person that made the original bow did not make it with a rectangular cross-section. A few notes: there's a pretty constant taper from here, from the fade, to where it constricts a little bit for the tip section. This thickness is very, very constant. And it doesn't really do much out here. It doesn't get thicker like a lot of molar gate bed bows made today. It's just basically a constant thickness until it gets out here. Now it's a matter of leverage. If I was to find the correct diameter of tree and round the back, which I've been doing, testing it, and continually making it smaller and smaller, which kind of surprised me, I'm finding that in the widest portion, I'm removing most of the wood, more wood than in this narrower section, and so the bend is creeping towards the handle. Nice. I could actually make it from a smaller diameter tree to get the bend, more in, which I probably will do, because when I floor tiller it, when I say this is ready to rawhide back, I've shaped the back correctly, I want to get the proper bend profile in there, and then work it. When it's done thinning it, which it'll change the original measurements, but it's a different material, and once I get the proper diameter to tiller it, I'll basically be just thinning it evenly along the bottom, so I'm not going to be doing too much to the original design. A few notes. Figuring out from floor tillering this mighty beast that the person that made this practiced economy of materials. 9,000 years ago, no steel tools. And so, what is easier, to chop down a big giant tree or take a sapling, just split it in half? That's probably why this handle isn't, thicker, and then work it down green. Smart way to do it. And even smarter is creating a beautifully engineered, very fast bow, even by modern standards. Supposedly, I haven't shot one before, but the current knowledge is that these things can match a modern longbow. And how astounding is that? That 9,000 years ago, somebody took the easy route, small sapling, chopped a beautiful bow out of it, and it had amazing performance. That in itself is astounding to me. It's humbling. Now what I notice about this, I've made various Holmgaard bed Holmgaard bows before, but they were somewhat exaggerated. I wanted to show off that they were Holmgaardy, so I had wider blades sometimes, and a very constricted tip with needing to be deepened. That person didn't do that. They were all about functionality and not like, I want to show off how I've made my tips narrower than the guy next door. And so they made it in a way that it took advantage of the Holmgaard effect, but in the most, what would you say, the most, the best way. I'm not gonna search for words. Now, to increase that lever effect, if you have most of the bending out here, it's kind of like an at-ladle kind of affair, you know, if everything lines up. Needle tips, these actually will go to a point. So there's very low mass here. So that is where I am right now. I'm going to continue out here as quickly as possible because I've been out here all day working on this thing. Finish rounding it. I've rounded it up to this point. I just need to do the tip there, and as you find out that as you get closer there's less wood and it's almost flat, so I'm basically almost done. Then I'm going to go and round it all off, round the handle on the back, make it all nice and pretty, following the sketches in there, you know, how it was rounded and what the cross sections look like. Then it's on to rawhide backing, and after the rawhide dries, it is on to finishing it and having a piece of history touching the spirit of a bow maker from 9,000 years ago. Pretty cool. Okay, I'm gonna hustle, not gonna chatter too much. The weather is what it is. Actually, it's very Holmgaard bow making weather.